Greetings all, this is Claudia Manchanda, Radical Herbalist, and I'm just sitting in front of some green alkanet, and I'm kind of smiling because all the bees are buzzing all around me because they absolutely love it. Let me just show you. I don't know if you can see them flying everywhere. So here we have the alkanet, the green alkanet, and it's called green alkanet because I think it's to do with the fact that it's sort of so green for so much time of the year, but the flowers are beautiful azure blue. I'll just see if I can get a close up. And it's got a furry stem and ovate leaves. Let's have a look at a leaf. See the shape of the leaf, and the leaves are very kind of bristly hairy, not soft hairy, but bristly hairy. And there are several types of alkanet, and this is the one that grows in Western Europe, and it's called Pentaglottis sempervirens, and penta means 5 and glottis means tongue, so 5 tongue, and sempervirens means always alive, and I think that sort of is referring to its evergreen properties and the fact that it's sort of like, look how vibrant it is around here. In some countries it's been labelled as an invasive weed, but I think the bees and insects would beg to differ. What's quite interesting is that the radical herbalist Nicholas Culpeper, when he describes it in his herbal written in the 1600s, said it grows near Kent, near Rochester, in the West Country, Devonshire and Cornwall. And I can testify that it grows in Hackney, Kilburn, Tottenham, and most places that I visited. I see this herb everywhere. And yesterday at the Misery Party walk, someone asked, so what's this plant? And looked at the herbalist, and the herbalist looked a bit kind of blank, and I was saying that I'd remembered that Nicholas Culpeper had said it was good for green festering wounds, but actually apart from that we didn't really know much about the plant. We figured because it's in the borage family that it had pyrrolizidine alkaloids, which are toxic, and that's probably why it's not in our Materia Medica at the moment. But I decided to do some reading last night and look up more about the plant, and was quite astonished to learn about the Indian variety and how it's used, and I'd actually seen it and not clocked that it was an alkanet that was being used. And so I thought I'd tell you a little bit about the historical uses of alkanet here, of the colonisers in Turtle Island, and also a little bit about the Mediterranean and varieties that grow in hotter countries. The one called Dyer's bug gloss or Dyer's alkanet. So this plant is a member of the borage family, Boraginaceae family, like comfrey, like forget-me-nots, like lungwort, and I'll actually walk around and see if I can find some comparisons and cut them into this video so you can see some lungworts, some forget-me-nots, some borage. Its name is alkanet, and alkanet is believed to come from the old Spanish word alcaneta, which comes from alcana, which comes from Arabic al-hina, which refers to henna. And that's because the root of the alkanets, particularly a different type of alkanet called Alkanet tinctura, which is the dyer's alkanet, but this one too, they have roots that can be used for dyes. So these alkanets develop a really big taproot, a bit like a carrot is a taproot, and it can be dug up with a gardener's implement like a hoe or something. And this variety of alkanet has a black shiny skin with yellow coloured flesh, But the dyer's alkanet that grows in the Mediterranean and hotter environments like Pakistan, Kashmir, India, that has a deep red maroon coloured root, and I'll cut in a picture of that to show you as well. And that plant looks more Mediterranean or tropical. It has much more grey coloured fluffy leaves. It grows a lot lower and it likes sandy dry soil. Both alkanets like alkaline soil, and I wondered if the name alkanet was linked to alkaline, but I don't know if it is. Culpeper described this herb as a darling of Venus, and he doesn't describe in what way it's prepared, whether it's the leaves or the root, so I commonly assume it's the root, but I could be wrong. Because the leaves are used medicinally in places like Kashmir and India. Culpeper said the vinegar helps with the yellow jaundice, the spleen, gravel in the kidneys, and it kills worms. He said the wine decocted strengthens the back and easeth the pains thereof, and drives out the smallpox and the measles. I wonder if it would work on monkeypox. A red ointment made from the powder of the root has been used in many traditions, including for hepatic lesions and for open ulcers on the legs. Culpeper described it to be used to treat old green ulcers, the common fire, and St. Anthony's fire. An 1810 herbal said that it's used for disorders of the chest. The express juice is given with great success with pleurisy and a cure for melancholia and hypochondrial diseases. I'd like to say that today it's not used internally because of the pyrrolizidine alkaloids, but it is still used in external mixes, and the flowers are edible and used in ice cubes and cocktails and cake decorations and what have you. There's been a lot of concerned about the use of pyrrolizidine alkaloid containing plants because of the damage it does to the kidneys, the lungs, the heart, but particularly because of hepatotoxicity, liver damage. So extreme caution is used now when using these plants for internal mixes. But interestingly, saying that, the root of the dyer's alkanet is used in traditional dishes in Pakistan and Kashmir, and what they do is they use a dried root and fry it in ghee or butter, and then cook lamb curries within that base. A study was done in Peshawar in Pakistan where the Alkanet tinctura root was dried into a powder, then added into a very strong alcoholic mix for 21 days, and then used on multi-drug resistant bacteria, including E. coli, Staphylococcus aureus, and some other bacteria. And it was demonstrated to be more effective than the bacteria. So if you look at the Public Library of Medicine, you can see that study. In India, Ratanjot is the root that's made into a hair oil, and I think it's made with coconut oil. It's cooked in the coconut oil with other herbs, I think including neem, and it's used to promote hair growth, and it's been touted that it helps with grey hair. I don't know if that's true, but because it's being a dye, it's possible that it can darken grey hairs. In homeopathic medicine, the plant is used in a potentized way, not like herbal medicine, and it's used as an expectorant and as an antibacterial. The flower essence, which is prepared just by taking the flowers and putting it in the sunlight for 12 hours, then mixing it with brandy, that's been compared to helping a calm in a storm, and helps you be centered when things are in chaos, or to communicate what you need in times of chaos. Chemicals extracted from the plant in studies include the naphthoquinones. The notable ones is Alkanet and chiconin, and they've been studied as chemo prevention. So that means it stops processes that can lead to mutation and cancerous cells. And they've also been studied for anti-aging properties, so they can be added to sort of cosmetics. And these chemicals have been shown to have anti-proliferative properties, as well as anti-inflammatory and wound healing properties, as makes sense with the traditional use. And one study I saw showed that it might have a potential use for inhibition of colorectal cancer, but obviously that was conjecture, and I think the studies were mainly in vitro, so what it actually does in the body might be quite different. And I also wonder how the different extracts have different amounts of pyrrolizidine alkaloids, and that how that would pan out in terms of treatments for cancer prevention. It's such a beautiful plant and considered a weed by many. Here's some more lungwort pulmonaria of the same family, Boraginaceae. This is comfrey, symphytum officinale, and it also has sort of bristly stems. It's quite tall right now, and it's flowering quite early in the year this year. And it's the same, it's the Boraginaceae family, the same family as green alkanet. But I'm just showing you the difference. Here's some more green alkanet, quite different to the comfrey. The bees are absolutely loving these Boraginaceae plants.